Já avisaram, né? A palestra vai ser em inglês, mas no final a gente vai abrir um espaço para pergunta, então fique à vontade para perguntar tanto em inglês como em português. Não se preocupe. Okay, so let's begin. Just want to introduce myself. I'm Pedro Torres. I'm a product manager at PasseiDireto. You guys want to go?
I'm Maristela. I'm a director of product at OLX.
My name is Tamir Nadav. I'm the director of product management at Gazeus Games here in Rio.
Okay, so let's start. Just want to go with the basics. When do you think is the right time to scale?
No
That's a
pressure.
hard question.
Yeah, it's a hard one.
The right time to scale is when you can afford it. Usually when I think of game companies in specific, they start from ideas. They start from a few people who think that, you know what, there's an idea we have that can be successful. We can create a game because we want to create a game and we believe in its success. So they work together, and either somebody invests in the company because they believe in the idea, or they complete the project and launch it and are starting to make revenue. And now they're able to hire and to begin to grow from a product into an actual company.
Yeah, from our side, I think it was more like a trial and error process. So we started feeling that there are some blockers for our growth, that we needed to break down some product teams. And suddenly we went from 5 product managers to 20 product managers. It was a mess, big mess. It was not a very structured process. So that's why I say it was like trial and error. But it was by our need. We needed to scale. We are having some blockers from our growth. And then we decided to get bigger and then organizing that.
So you just go for it when you see there's a problem happening.
Yeah, when we see there's a problem and when we see we can go like in parallel ways to solve that problem. We don't need to, we can break down in smaller parts and have different product teams working on different problems. So that's basically when we feel we need to grow and scale.
So what's the first step you do when you need to scale? Like, do you hire as many PMs as you can, as fast as you can, or you just like share the same PM with more than one team?
Oh God, no. PMs are the people you bring in when you need to solve a problem, because the main role of a PM is problem solving. So if you don't have enough problems, when you hire more producers, you will now have problems that you need to fix. So the best way I like to think of when it's time to hire producers, product managers, anyone in this role, is when there's too much going on that people are not able to keep track of what needs to get done. And then you hire someone to help put that in order. But companies that tend to have too much management slows down the development of everything else, because each person has their own process, their own method of staying organized, and they conflict with each other, and then you end up with too many people voting and not enough people doing.
I think it's basically the same. So what we do, usually we start growing the scope of the team and growing the problems they need to solve. And when we feel that it's too much for just one team, just one product manager, and he's not giving the best he can, then we think about hiring someone else to help, or breaking down this team, or dividing the scope. But first, the first initiative is to growing inside the current teams, other than just hiring more product managers.
You wait till everything's on fire, then you start hiring.
Yeah, basically that's it.
And then the product managers help the fire get a little less. But if there's no fire in the company, it probably means that somebody's doing something wrong.
Or you have too many people managing.
Well, yeah, then, no, because then they create their own fires, because, producers need fires, right? So if there's no fires, then suddenly there are fires because there's too many producers.
When you hire, is there a specific background you look for in a PM? We know they can come from like tech or UX or business. Is that a better one or a worse one?
On my side, we don't look for a specific background. Actually, we look for a specific core skill sets. So as Tamir said, the product manager needs to solve problems. So problem solving is probably the most important thing, and how to structure and break down a problem, that's basically the most important skill for a product manager. So it doesn't matter the background, but usually they come from similar backgrounds just by accident. But it's not that we are looking for proactively for a specific background.
For me, this may sound a little strange. We're a game company. We build games. Games is our, lifeblood. But it doesn't really matter to me if they have a game background. I prefer it, and I like when we can talk the same language about games. But like she said, it's about the ability to critically think, to think outside of the box, to be comfortable coming up with solutions for things that they don't think about. But the biggest thing when I think about what I look for in a PO is confidence. A PO, or a product owner, I'm going to use many different terms, but it's usually essentially the same person, needs to be able to make decisions on their feet and believe in their own decision making. So it's the type of person that you would expect that can give a presentation, that can be on stage in front of people, because they need to move, they need to inspire, and they need to lead people to be their best. So that only comes with someone who trusts themselves enough to make good decisions. And so a lot for me during the interview process is seeing, are they holding my attention? Can they talk about themselves in a way that makes me believe in them? And these are the skills that I think are absolutely important to anybody who's going to be in a leadership role.
Yeah, and also I think one other skill that for me is very crucial is collaboration. So as he said, the product manager needs to influence people and to convince by influence, and to work with different areas and different people. So I think collaboration and liking to work in a collaborative environment is very, very important. Otherwise, the product manager won't have success.
Do you normally look for a senior PM, or do you prefer like juniors and then you help them learn and grow? Or that depends?
That depends, and honestly, today is not very easy to find senior PMs in the market. So it's very, we are growing a lot. All the companies are looking for senior PMs, so it's not realistic to hire a lot of senior PMs. We need to build them and need to train and to develop the team. So yeah, it's nice to have a senior PM, but also what we face today in our current situation is that we need to develop our team and to form these senior PMs. And it's on the other side, it's very good because we can give them the culture and the right mindset that we think it's the best for the company.
When I think about hiring seniors and juniors, I definitely like to hire both. A few projects are critical, and so they need someone who has a long history and experience at dealing with a lot of bigger problems to handle those situations. However, they lack something that junior POs have, and that's ambition. Junior POs, they don't know all of the different ways that things can go wrong, so I tend to find that juniors have bigger ideas and more creative solutions for potential problems because they don't already know what doesn't work. They don't have a process that they've been using for a long time that they believe this is the only way to do it. So senior POs are very good at moving very quickly. They already have experience, so they know a good idea of what works and what doesn't work. But they don't have the I don't know if the expression translates, but the wide-eyed and bushy-tailed attitude that juniors have. Oh, I could do everything. Oh my God, this is amazing. Like they're so excited to come to work every day, and they can't wait to prove themselves. And that type of passion, drive, and ambition is very, very rare when people move up the levels. They're a lot more, even-keeled. So a good combination of both will make everybody improve.
And how important is English for a PM? We were talking about that right behind.
If you want your company to be a large, successful company, and you want your company to be international, you have to speak English. You know, there are people even that I work with that their English is not perfect, but everyone is trying and everyone is improving, and it's much better than my Portuguese. So that helps significantly. I get so tired every day trying to speak English. Your verbs are horrible. But you know, eventually, as a company grows, you're going to want to interact with other countries around the world. You know, games are international, tech is international. So I highly suggest that people try and practice to speak their English as much as possible, because eventually you're going to have to communicate.
And more than that, I work at OLX. It's a Brazilian company, but it's owned by 2 international groups. So eventually, we have a lot of training programs for PMs that are abroad with the groups. So even for knowledge, for getting knowledge about the product management and everything is international. Everything is in English. So if you want to study abroad and go for different training course or something like that. So for us, it's very important. And we encourage a lot our team, in spite of having a Brazilian company. We offer incentives for them to improve their English. But even if you think about growing up in the career, it's essential, I think.
It sounds so weird to say OLX instead of OLX.
Yes. I can say OLX, right?
You can say, I mean, everything is different here. Like, you know, in English we say, you know, human resources, you know, HR, and here you RH. We have IT, you have TI. And
but at OLX, do you use English like on daily basis?
Yeah, actually, my boss, the CPO, is Bulgarian, and the CEO is from Netherlands, and we have a lot of foreign people in the board. So our business language is in English, at the leadership at least, and we have some PMs that are not Brazilian too. And it's a challenge for the team to work with them, and everyone like half Portuguese, half English, and we try to get together. But yes, we use it a lot.
Gazeus, actually, we just opened a side studio in Canada. So we've been working with them, which, you know, is in English and now a little French, because they're in Montreal. And there's another gringo who came to the Brazilian office, and he's from Argentina. So we don't talk about football.
Okay, talking about hiring again. When you need to hire many people and fast, how do you keep an A team, like hiring good people?
Yeah, that's complicated. So the ideal answer would be that would have like a very good hiring process. And that's right. I mean, we work a lot with HR to have the best hiring process we can, and to tackle it so we can analyze all these core skill sets I mentioned. They are very specific in the process, so we can analyze that. So if you have a good hiring process that is fast and that can give you like a good notion if this person is right or not for the role, that's a good way. But honestly, we're facing a moment now that we can't have this luxury of having like setting the bar super high. And we need to take some risks sometimes and try to develop these people inside the company, like learning inside the work. That's what we're facing now. The market is super heated. Everyone is hiring like crazy. So if we keep the bar very high, we won't hire anyone with the speed we need. That's what happens now.
Yeah, I really like what you said about you know, the market right now is for candidates. It's very difficult to hire lots and lots of senior people. If I'm in a situation where I need to hire lots of people, the only way that would become a situation is if the company needs to grow very quickly, which usually means we suddenly have a lot of money. So a good way to hire a lot of good quality people is to participate in events like hackathon, like we're doing right now, hosting the game jam. And if I could, I would like to hire a group of people who already work together, because you'll get a producer, designer, 2 developers that already have a good relationship, and I can evaluate the quality of their work by the product that they put together. So, if any of you have seen or will see the pitches that may be after this panel, there are groups of people who have worked for 40 hours straight putting together these products, and they're exhausted, and they've been through a war trying to get this stuff done. But if they're able to do that and they end up with a product that looks viable in the future, that's a great demonstration of the talent and the collaboration that this group has. And so now I can hire a group of people, and maybe they're juniors, but they're already demonstrated the talent to become senior over time. And having the funds to put those things together allow us the ability to pick these people.
We know that communication and alignment are always a problem, like in every company. And when you scale, I can imagine that the problem will scale too. So how do you handle it?
We don't handle it. Yeah, it's a very hard. I think it's the biggest challenge we face now. Today we have 25 product teams, 25 product managers. It's huge. We have product and tech together in OLX. We have around 150 people. So it's very, very complex. What we are trying now is having a figure of what we call program managers. So each tribe or each group of squads, they have a program manager trying to consolidate roadmaps and to give a better vision of that group, of that tribe, and also aligning with other tribes too. So we have this person helping us give some more structure and trying to give the same processes and tools so everyone works in more or less the same way. It's not bureaucratic. It's not giving away the independence of the team, but just helping them to have a better structure so we can have visibility of all the trade-offs between the teams and the problems they're facing. So it's easier for the leadership team to have more consolidated vision of these challenges we're facing.
Wow. So we're a company of 80, and we have 4 producers. I'm thinking now we may need a few more after hearing what you said. I completely forgot the question. I'm sorry.
How to keep alignment and communication.
With communication and okay. So I completely agree with her. We don't. You will never have perfect communication. You will never even have very good communication. Some people, they want to be CC'd on every email, which means they don't read them because they just get too many. Some people say, just do what you want, and then they have no idea what's going on. And some people are in the middle, and they sometimes know what's going on, and they sometimes don't read their emails. The problem is, you will never be able to have everyone informed of everything they need to know when they need to know it. And so the solution to this problem is to hire people you can trust. So in my case, my team of producers are people that I know I can trust. I trust them to make good decisions. I trust them to make bad decisions and to tell me when they've realized they've made a bad decision and what they're going to do to fix it. So for me, that's the pinnacle of good communication, where I don't know exactly what this team might be doing right now, but I trust that they're doing the best they can with the information they have.
Another thing that I think it's crucial for good communication is to have a very good direction and very good clear strategy that everyone knows what they're doing. So basically when we have that, most part of the trade-offs and decisions you have are more or less clear when you have a very clear direction for the company. So I think that's one thing. It helps a lot.
Maristela, you are part of an initiative called Women in Product. What do you do at OLX to help diversity?
Yeah, it's a very important issue for us. So we have a diversity collective. We have a group of people in OLX that discuss diversity a lot and give the direction to us so we can think more about when we are hiring, when we are developing people, considering these diversity issues. Unfortunately, still in product and tech, we don't have a lot of diversity. We are working a lot on that. OLX as a company, I think we are better than we were, but still in product and tech, we have a lot of challenges in this sense. So that's good. We know we are behind what we should be, but we are working on it still yet.
So unlike Maristela, I'm a little less qualified to talk about this, but in the past I used to work with an organization called Women in Games International. And it was a group of people who we would put on conferences to try and encourage more women in technical roles. I remember a story of GDC, the Game Development Conference, the biggest in the world. I've been going since 2003, and in 2006 or 2007, all of us who were volunteers to help had an announcement that for the first time in the conference's history, and this was maybe the 17th year, there was a line in the women's bathroom. So that shows how poor the representation was of women in games and how it's growing. But the things that are really starting to inspire me is when I look at the groups in the game jam, 40% of the people in that room are women. Maybe 30, 35, 40%, but it's a lot more than 1%. And it's so exciting to see this change happening. And all it will do is make our products more approachable, make them a lot less sexualized, and generally improve the work culture and the output and the quality of the products that we create. So I'm very, very happy to watch this growth and to do whatever I can to help these initiatives.
At Gazeus, you have an horizontal structure, right? So how does it work, like for the PM team? Who, like PMs under GPMs, under head of product? How does it work?
It kind of differs by team. We're a little less horizontal than we used to be, but because the nature of our business is making games, we have multiple game teams, and they report to a PO, and okay, hang on. This is a little complicated. So we have a PO, and they're responsible for the game. The people on the team, the engineers report to a senior engineer, the artists report to a single artist, but the POs manage the product that they're building. And then I manage the POs and also the community team, and then I report to the CEO. So there's not very many levels in the hierarchy, but that's simply because we don't have very large divisions with very large teams. You know, the teams are 5 to 8 people, and so they only need one person to manage them. And since we only have a few games being developed concurrently, I'm able to manage that group of people. Now, if we're suddenly developing 30 games, I'm not going to be able to manage 30 POs appropriately, so then I hire one person to focus on this group of games, one person to focus on this, and that way, you know, the hierarchy will continue to grow in a scalable way that doesn't leave anyone completely overwhelmed, only normally overwhelmed, but also doesn't, you know, have one person managing one person who manages one person, you know, like that. So we're flat-ish, but only because that's what is currently working best for the size and the scale of the products that we're building.
At OLX, you have both PM and GPMs, right?
Yeah, so you know, OLX is a bit different because we have, as I said, 25 product teams, and they are grouped in what we call tribes. So I'm a director of product, I'm responsible for 2 tribes, and today I have 15 product managers reporting to me. because we have like the core experience tribe, the quality and safety tribe. So there are common subjects around these teams, but also we have GPMs. They can be inside my structure or not inside my structure. They can report directly to the CPO. It just depends on the size of the tribe and the need to have a director or not. So we have the CPO, directors are group product managers underneath, and then the product managers. So we have like 3 levels of hierarchy.
So the next stage for a PM is not to become a GPM. You can go.
Can be becoming a GPM. Usually it is to become a GPM, but it can be a GPM above a director or above the CPO.
Cool. We know it's normal for people like to move from one company to another. That happens all the time. What do you do to keep the team happy and motivated, or how to retain your talents in your company?
I think in OLX what we say a lot is that we have a very clear purpose. We want to change the consuming culture. We impact a lot of lives in the Brazilian space, so 50 million users per month. So people who work there are connected with our purpose. That's the first thing. The second thing, I think, is to have a very strong product culture. So the company is truly driven by the user, the consumer, and what he needs. And that's why we say we have a very strong product culture with a lot of experimentation and data-driven. So for everyone who likes to work with product, that's a very good environment to be working in. So that's how we try to have a very good place for good people to work.
I've worn bikinis at the office. The reason I say it is not just because I wanted to say it, but company culture is what's really, really important, because while it's very difficult to give people a constant competitive salary year after year to keep them, a lot of people move company to company because they want to change their title. And there may not be an opportunity at their current company, but if they look around, there may be other companies that do have that opening. And so that is very, very difficult to fight against. So the trick is to try and make an environment where people feel comfortable coming to work every day. They love the people they work with. They're excited to come to work. And they feel appreciated. They feel trusted. And they feel confident and capable to do the job they're hired for. Because other companies cannot promise that. So if they're happy where they are, like ownership is critical. There are many, many places I've worked at where people are just being told what to do. Like, okay, push this button. Okay, write this project. This is the way I want you to write it. I want you to write this paper, but this is what you need to write it about. And they turn people into glorified secretaries. And people are going to leave. But if you give people the things that they need to succeed, which I hate that expression, but it rhymes nicely in English, you'll end up with a lot of loyalty. And it doesn't hurt to reward your team by coming in crazy costumes and and getting the team engaged and having fun like a family. It's actually something that I love so much here in Brazil that we don't have in America. Is, here when you greet people, you hug them, you kiss them twice if you're in Rio, and once in Sao Paulo, and 9 times if you're in Porto Alegre. And when you see people at work, you hug, you touch on the shoulder. And I didn't realize how much this was missing in America. And that's probably why people stay at jobs more at places here in Brazil than they do in America. Because when you meet someone in America, you shake their hand from as far away as possible as you possibly can be. And when you see people that you've worked with for 5 years, you wave as you walk by the hallway. So there's not really a sense of connection. There's no sense of family. But here, when I come to work every day, I feel like, wow, these people really love me. They love to spend time with me, and we love to work together. And it inspires me to stay a lot more because of that culture that's built here. So, yay, Brazil. I mean, that's really amazing. But thinking about things in that way will help you keep people employed at your company.
What would you say was the biggest challenge you faced when you're hiring, when you're scaling? You have time. We have
Thinking
16
about
minutes.
scaling is one problem. Understanding what you need to solve the problem you have. Okay, we want to build a new project. We need to bring in. What's the problem we're trying to solve? Do we need 3 programmers or 4? Okay, well, let's compare that with other products in the same vein. Maybe let's try and build a team like this. Okay, what language, do we want to build the software in? Can we find experts? And it just becomes, you get to a point where you're, 60% confident, you know what you're gonna do, and then you find people who, when you're hiring people, you're looking at people to check off boxes of, okay, they this, but at the end of the day, you're just hiring good people. And so if you think, okay, we've got a problem, maybe, we got a new product we want to build, or somebody is giving us money to do something, it's okay, let's hire 4 good people, and we'll see how those good people do good things, and then, we need some more good people, so let's bring in some more good people. It is a problem, and there's not really a good solution aside from understanding your basic needs, finding the right people, and hoping for the best.
I think the biggest challenge we have is keeping the company culture and keeping purpose because it's very easy to have a good environment and everyone aligned with the same culture when you have 5 people, 5 product managers. When you scale that, you're hiring different backgrounds, different stories. You have totally different group of people. So to keep the culture and to keep the purpose alive, that's, I think, the hardest challenge when you scale.
Cool.
Her answer was better.
I had more time to think.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, we still have 14 minutes. I think we can open the questions to the audience. Alguém quer fazer alguma pergunta? Pode fazer em português, tá, gente?
Vou falar em português mesmo. Como é que vocês lidam com PMs que tem que sair de férias ou então ficam doentes? Porque você pode botar outro PM no lugar dele, mas aí o PM vai ficar com 2 times, aí... Porque num squad você normalmente tem vários desenvolvedores e o PM. Então, quando um desenvolvedor está fora, o resto do time cobre. E com o PM, como é que vocês lidam com isso?
Okay.
How do you handle when a PM needs to leave for vacation?
Okay.
So in my case, usually when the PM leaves for vacation, they have already a good planning and the backlog is structured and they have the planning, so the team can work not necessarily with him. So that's normal. I mean, they have a good planning and the team is working. It's on keeping the pace. So it's
without a PM? Without
a PM, yeah. For 15, 20 days, it's okay.
Para mim também. The amount of vacation you get here in Brazil is insane. We get 2 weeks. But like I meant, she's right. If the PMs are doing their job, then they can go on vacation for a short amount of time, even, 30 days. And the product will continue to run smoothly. And that's a great sign of a good PO. And then they come back and they kick off the next process and catch up where they were. Since we're talking reality, they're going to come back and 9 new things are on fire. But as a producer, their job is to fix those fires, so they're right at home when they come back. But yeah, it's they come back and they fix problems.
It really works.
Oh, absolutely.
Good.
Hi. Maristela talked about when you're scaling from 4 product managers to 25, and then of course you're going to run into some other problems as keeping cohesion of vision and so on. But I would like to hear more about specifically what you guys do, like to keep the vision and consistency and keep everyone in the same path. Can you just go a little deeper into how do you guys do that?
Yeah, it's very hard, but I think what works the best is to have a very good leadership team too. So when we are defining the vision and ambitions for the next year or next 2 or 5 years, then the product leadership team works together to translate that into the product area and how each team would collaborate with this vision for the company, and then sit back together with the product managers so they can work inside their squads to achieve this vision and to plan their next period, year or quarter or whatever, to help the company achieve that goal. So that's basically it's basically my job to translate the company vision inside the product and to have my teams working together to achieve that.
One of the things I really like to see, and it's something that we're doing at Gazeus, is a vision can come from up high, but creating a culture comes from both directions. You in leadership you have a goal, an idea of what you want the culture to be, what you want the purpose and the mission of the company to be, and the way people will think. And as you hire talented people, you begin to create together what that environment is like. And you create that culture together. And so seeing leadership working together with the people that are actually doing the work makes a very, very big difference. I've been to way too many companies where upper management has absolutely no idea about what it's like to actually make games anymore because they've been in management for so long, or they've never actually been a developer. So when you have that connection between the two, you have a very strong company culture, a very strong mission and purpose, and people come to work every day believing that we're all on the same page and they're able to do great things.
A gente tem tempo mais uma.
Hello, I have a question about how you deal with the problem of POs or other product people working with highly technological products without having a technological background.
Again, it comes down to trust. I'm hoping that the PO is not trying to program in Unity. I was a programmer 15 years ago, so if somebody asks me to write code, we have a big problem. But it comes down to trust. The POs need to trust that the engineers who are using that software know what they're doing. And the PO's job is to take the information that this senior technology developer is giving them and use that to plan a schedule around it. And so as a PO, I may not know what he's talking about, he's, or her, it could be, any gender developer. We'll be using all sorts of words that I don't understand in any language. But they're going to give me a time, and they say, oh, we're going to finish this in 1 week, we're going to finish this in 2 weeks. And if they're failing to meet the time and deadlines that they're suggesting, then we need to work and figure out what that problem is. But I don't need to know exactly what they're talking about. I just need to know and trust that they know what they're talking about, and they're able to meet the times and dates that they give me, and that other people who are experienced in that same field validate the times and dates that they're giving me.
Yeah. Another thing that it's important is that we have a lot of teams that work with advanced technologies, with data science and machine learning and things like that. So the product manager don't necessarily need to know these technologies, but as Tamir said, it's important to have trust and also to understand a little bit about the technology to see how it can apply into your product and how you can extract value from that technology into your product. So sometimes people just come and say, oh, I need to use machine learning, I need to use AI, but do you know what value it would bring to your product? So it's important to understand a little bit the cases of use and how do you extract most of the value of these technologies to improve the value of your product. That's what I think.
Tentei prometer. No? We're talking about scaling and hiring, so are you guys hiring now?
Yep.
Yep.
Do you want me to? Okay. So I'll tell you guys a little bit about Gazeus. We're a mobile game company based here in Rio. We're actually here in Barra da Tijuca. We are a team of about 80 people. We make games, mobile games, casual games. We have a less casual game that launched in Brazil Thursday of this week, so 3 days ago. We're really excited about it. It's called Let's Zeppelin. It's a battleship game, but it's really adorable. The team worked really hard. And we are continuing to grow. We are, looking for producers, game developers, designers, artists, and, places like this, like I mentioned, are great places to find talented people. And, as I mentioned before, as we hit different deadlines, I am looking forward to coming into work dressed as different Disney princesses, or whatever to help inspire the team. So if you are interested, you can find me wandering around probably a little bit later, and we'd be happy to talk.
So OLX is the biggest classified marketplace in Brazil. We have our company, we have both in Rio and São Paulo. Here in Rio, we stayed at Largo do Machado, near Flamengo. We are always looking for talent. So despite of having a huge team, product and technology team, we are always looking for developers, product managers, designers, analytics, and all different functions inside product. So we are growing a lot, and that's always good to meet good talent. So you can find me too on LinkedIn or here around the event, and give a chat.
I'm going to do my propaganda in Portuguese, if you don't mind.
Oh, that's not fair.
Então, PasseiDireto é a maior rede de estudos do Brasil, não sei se vocês conhecem. A gente também está contratando, é só entrar no vagas.passeidireto.com. E tem tanto para a área de produto como para desenvolvimento e outras áreas também. Então, também vou estar por aqui o resto do dia, qualquer coisa é só me perguntar. And I think that's it. We're going to be around here, and if you guys want to ask more questions later. And we hope to see you again soon. Thank you.